AITA for asking my husband to cancel his bros-only trip to help me with our newborn after he promised he would. NTA. He agreed he would cancel it until he was actually held to his word. Planning a trip with his friends a few months after your due date was truly spectacularly poor judgment in the first place. He is a dad now. He's not your helper. He should be pulling his own weight. And he should know by now that this is a bad idea. No, his parents living nearby does not make up for it. And no, it is not reasonable for him to expect you to trust him to make sure you're supported even though he's not physically there. This is his baby. He should be physically there. Not just supporting you, but taking care of his own child, who I must assume you are still recovering from carrying and giving birth to. You are not being unfair. He is being a liar? What do we call people who say they'll do something and then pitch a fit when you expect them to actually do it? NTA. Part of being a parent is sacrificing your own wants and desires for your child. Part of being a good husband is listening to your wife when she says she needs you. Frankly, he should have considered canceling it when he knew the baby would be here by the time the trip came. I assume Jake will be looking after Olivia for a week once you've stopped breastfeeding and can go away for a break. Let Jake know that if he uses his parents as free childcare, it will result in a further week of rest being required. Jake seems oblivious to the struggles you are facing with your child and selfishly prioritizes his own needs over you and Olivia. NTA. Hubby needs to grow up. Pregnancy, childbirth and early parenthood are absolutely unfair. He just seems to be confused about who they are unfair for. You were pregnant for 9+ months. You gave birth. You had to deal with the physical effects of giving birth. Your hormones are still not back to normal. You're breastfeeding. All of that is on top of the shared challenges you both face as the parents of an infant. So expecting to be able to take a week-long break, when your co-parent probably won't be able to have a similar length break for months, is unfair. This is always the issue. Wife becomes mother. Husband doesn't become father and wonders why the wife changed. You do not leave your postpartum wife with a 2-month-old newborn for a vacay. AITA for not bending over backwards for my parents in order to babysit my 18-year-old sister. NTAIT is important that you establish the simple fact that you are an adult with a job. If your parents believe that I are their 18-year-old child, is she still in high school? Needs supervision, then they needed to book someone to provide that service before they made their travel plans. If your parents leave their child alone, that is on them. NTA. Unless your sister lacks the emotional maturity or has a history of dodgy acts, she's perfectly capable of doing whatever she wants. She doesn't even need to stay at your parents' house if she doesn't want to, because she's legally an adult. The only reason she'd need someone around most of the time is if she can't take care of herself. Why do your parents think your adult sister needs a babysitter for 3 days? Is your adult sister disabled in any way? NTA. Your suggestion was generous and completely reasonable. And what you said to them was reasonable as well. It doesn't make sense. What are they worried about? Does she not know how to feed herself and take care of her basic needs? 18-year-olds are usually completely independent. They have a job or attend school. What does she do all day when your parents are not on a cruise? Are they with her all the time? Why does an adult need a babysitter? I'm so confused what they think you're supposed to do. Not work so you can entertain a grown-ass woman? Edit. NTA. AITA for telling my future ILs that my decision to change my name is none of their business and to quit the insensitive comments? Greater than when I met my best friend, she told me I looked like a Kenzie and I've been Kenzie ever since. Have you not then been Kenzie to them throughout your relationship with their son? How did they even know that Charlotte was your legal name? Obviously NTA on the general situation. But this seems like an argument that would never come up repeatedly and organically. NTA greater than they told me how complicated it would be to change all my documents to reflect my new name. You'll have to regardless. Do they not understand how changing your last name works? This argument doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Greater than when I met my best friend, she told me I looked like a Kenzie and I've been Kenzie ever since. Also, I want to say this is so sweet. Greater than, and they bring up how names are a gift of love from a parent to a child. Okay, this is them being deliberately cruel. They talk about name changes on all your official paperwork being difficult, but I'm guessing they have no problem with that hassle when it comes to you taking their son's last name. NTA, you tried politely, and it didn't work. Your partner tried politely, and it didn't work. Time for blunt. And if that comes across as rude, then in this case, it's totally justified. AITA, the hypocrisy of them calling you disrespectful is outstanding. NTA, this isn't their decision and has zero impact on them. Especially since they've always known you as Kenzie. So it's not like they need to learn to call you something new. The only person this decision impacts is you. Therefore, yours in the only opinion that matters on the subject. I'd also like to point out that you were in fact named by someone who loves, cares for you. Sounds like you have an amazing best friend. WIBTA, if I rejected my future MIL's offer to buy wedding brunch if she won't accommodate our dietary restrictions? If you don't want the brunch, don't go. However, your mother-in-law may host a brunch for friends and family that attended the wedding. It's not uncommon for the parents of the married couple to invite their friends to breakfast or brunch the day after a wedding. I understand you object to the menu, but you can't prevent your mother-in-law for hosting something else. Info is your mill planning this and paying for it for after your wedding for the guests who will still be there. Like family who came in from out of town? If so, this is her event, and she can plan it as she chooses. If you are that uncomfortable with the menu, you don't have to go. It seems disingenuous to characterize this as not accommodating your dietary restrictions, unless she was planning on throwing a brunch that didn't have anything you could eat, or didn't have reasonable options for you to eat. If there would be plenty of decent options for you, then your dietary restrictions would have been accommodated, regardless of what else is served to others. What you're really trying to say is that she doesn't want to force the guests to abide by your dietary restrictions, which doesn't seem unreasonable at all. Greater than, not everyone is vegetarian. Forgo animal products. These also seems like disingenuous characterizations, since a vegetarian meal wouldn't satisfy your requirements and your own suggestions include animal products. Greater than, ask someone who's buying us a gift-feeding brunch to your guests is not a gift for you. It's a gift for your guests. Your brunch might be a gift for you, but it doesn't sound like she's trying to buy you eggs for brunch. Just the people who eat eggs. If I'm wrong and she only wants to serve eggs and doesn't want to offer reasonable options for you, I'll change my vote. But as it stands, it seems like YTA for the disingenuous characterizations of the situation. YTA. Not sure how you would cancel a brunch that you're not organizing or paying for. I'd argue that it's not really part of your wedding. You are attempting to impose your dietary restrictions on others at your own wedding. Go for it. Again, I'd argue this is ancillary to the wedding. That said, if there was nothing at the brunch that you could eat, then she'd be the soft YTA. I'm in full support of wedding couples' dietary choices being applied to the wedding meal. However, this isn't your wedding. It's the day after brunch that you've repeatedly mentioned you don't want planned for. You didn't even ask Mill to plan this party for you. As in, help organize an event you would otherwise be organizing. So it really sounds like this is your MIL's party. that she invited you to be an honorary guest at. It's just like any other event, you either eat what you can from the options there or you make sure to eat beforehand or afterwards. Alternatively, if the menu and event is that important, you can plan and pay for it yourself. Families have always used weddings as opportunities to see each other and hang out outside of the main event. Back in the day when it was just everyone piling into grandma's house, no one had a say over what the menu looked like anyway. Edit. I don't believe the bride and groom are required to attend, although they should be upfront about that if they will miss it. If they do want to attend, I'm sure Mill would be happy to accommodate the two of them with a plate of whatever they'd like. No need to change the menu for everyone else.